Hi, in this lecture, I will be discussing about the next feature in Creo Parametric. And the feature what we are going to learn today or in this particular video will be under the category of editing. The name of the feature which we are discussing right now is called as pattern. So what does pattern mean in general English? It means something which is used as a model to make a copy with a recurring design. In Creo Parametric, what are we doing with pattern command? For example, I have this extruded base over here or the extruded geometry on which I have created a circular extrusion. So this is the extrude number 2 and the extrude number 1 is the base. If I want to make a pattern of extrude 2, that means I want to make a copy of this particular extrude in some kind of design or a repeated recurring design. So in order to do that, I can utilize the command called as pattern. So I will show you the procedure for using a pattern and creating repeated or recurring designs of the model of interest. Before that, let me tell you one thing, that if we are wanting to work with the pattern command, the first and the foremost thing is to decide which feature or instance we are going to pattern or we are going to make a copy of. Secondly, the pattern is only functional if we have a geometry on the screen and if we have the feature which we are deciding to pattern. So I have the feature with me right now. In order to activate the pattern command, I can simply select the feature or instance which I want to copy or make a design of. After selecting the feature, I can go to the pattern command. You can see it is highlighted. The icon is highlighted right now, which means we can start using this function. Click on the pattern command. After clicking, you will be having a new ribbon with different features and options. The first option on the left hand side is the select pattern type. So there are different types of pattern what we can create in Creo. The first one is the dimension pattern, which is activated by default. If we are clicking on the drop down list, we will be having the different types of patterns which are present and we will be discussing in the future videos. So the first one I will be discussing is the dimension pattern, which is the first pattern by default. Now for example, you may notice one thing, that when I'm activating the pattern by selecting the feature, automatically the dimensions corresponding to this feature are presented on the screen. So please have a look very carefully. Let me select the pattern command. Here it is. So you can see the dimensions which are visible right now. We have the dimension with respect to the references which we have used for placing the feature. So I'll just go back quickly to the extrude and edit definition. I'll go to placement, edit, and you can see the dimensions which are visible right now. So I have utilized the 40 units distance from this central axis, and I have also utilized a 10 unit distance from the left hand side and the diameter of 10 units. So when I'm turning on the pattern command, you can see that the same dimensions are present right now. So whatever dimensions we are using for creating the feature, the same dimensions will be visible right now when we are activating the dimension pattern. Now let us try to create a copy of this instance or the feature. So before that, for a clear representation, I'll just change the color of the base. We can go to view, appearances, select any color of interest, and I'll just select the outer surfaces. I'll come back to pattern. We have the geometry with us. So imagine I want to create a same feature on the surface on the right hand side. So I can simply select this dimension because this dimension is having a distance of 10 units from the left side. After selecting, I need to enter a value. So this value will not be changing the dimension of the existing instance, but it will be adding an incremental value to this. So for example, right now the distance is 10 units and 10 units correspond to the distance of the edge to the center of circle. So imagine if I want to add 20 units right now. So you can see I got a dot over here. So this particular dot or this particular indication, it indicates me that the next feature or the next copy of this model will be at this particular location. Because I have entered a value of 20 units. So from this particular point, it has added 20 units and we are getting a dot over here, which indicates that the next feature will be present over here. So if I want to press OK, I will be having the same feature copied on the right hand side. So this is copying the first instance and creating a new instance. I'll just edit back the pattern. What if I want 5 more copies? Okay, so you can see on the screen over here, currently the number of members are 2. The first one is the original one what we have selected, and the second one is the copied one. If I want a number of 6 members or 6 instance features, I can just type 6 over here and you can see I'm getting 6 dots over here. This indicates that I will be having 6 features, and simply press OK to get the 6 features on the surface. So remember, the distance between each of the feature or each instance is equal to 20 units. So what is the reason for them to be 20 units is because when I have selected the dimension, the first dimension, I have written over here 20. That is the reason the distance between each of this is 20 units. Now if I want to change the distance between them, how do I do it? I can simply go to dimensions and you can see the selection or the particular feature or the dimension what we have selected. So we have selected this particular dimension which is getting highlighted right now. Clear? So you can see when I'm clicking on this, it is getting highlighted. So I have entered an increment of 20 units. Let me change the increment to say 40 units. And you can see that the dots are changing the location depending on the dimensions what we have entered. So the final dot is going outside the geometry. Let me reduce it and press OK to get a pattern of the instance what we want to create it. So this is the basic feature of pattern, the dimension pattern. Let us move on and discuss the remaining set of features.